back with another JR Takes Mock Draft 1.0 edition. Ryan, we got a little mock draft on our hands, and we're going to be going evens and odds like we did last year. I'll be taking the reins on the odd number draft picks this season, and Ryan will be doing the even, which correlates to you being John Schneider in this draft, because I'll be honest, I didn't have the balls to, and I didn't really want to, because
it's a tough spot to be. Everyone's gonna hate me.
Yeah. So I mean, I found myself wanting to trade back, but the general consensus of this draft has been no one wants to trade back or up, vice versa, because of the talent pool being mostly in the second and third rounds. So we kind of just, like last year, made no or are going to make no trades in this draft. We're just going to be doing all 31 picks, which is kind of cool because all 32 teams have their first round pick this year. So we can actually do the even number of picks between the two of us, unlike last year. I think it was the Dolphins that didn't have a pick. Or was it the year before?
One of those 2 years.
Either way,
they got the pick taken
They
away.
have the most boring pick anyway. But yeah. So before we kick this off, do you have anything you want to comment on as far as the draft process or anything you're looking forward to doing in this mock draft 1.0?
I'm looking forward to making a terrible move for the Browns. First and foremost.
Everything. But all right, I guess we can kick this thing off now. My first pick, I think it's...
Wait, hold on. Okay, and you're on the clock.
All right, my first pick, I think it's a little obvious. I'm going with the general consensus here on what everyone thinks they're going to do. We're going to go Cam Ward out of Florida, quarterback.
All right, Travis Hunter, you got it.
All right.
He's a Titan.
Cam Ward going first overall. It's probably gonna happen. I mean, they took him out to dinner and shit. I think it's pretty much a done deal.
It's like the Bears drafting Caleb. I think it's a lock at this point.
Yeah, I think anything else would be a stunner. And I mean, obviously they don't believe in Mayo Man. Sadly, Mayo Man kind of grew on me.
What do you mean?
He was funny. He was fun to watch.
Funny to watch and laugh at.
Jonah, you should put in the NFL draft sound. It's like,
yeah, I will. We did that last year too. Yeah, I'll do that again this year.
So next up, we're getting this out of the way early. We got the dumpster fire that is the Cleveland Browns on the clock, and everyone is gonna be just sitting there, nervous with anticipation on what they do, and they're going to take Shedeur Sanders. Because
really?
They're
okay.
stupid. Right now, Kenny Pickett is probably going to be their starter, if not him.
Shedeur Sanders, quarterback.
I believe they re-signed Joe Flacco. So, I mean, you need to sell tickets. The Predator is going to be injured all of next season, so you're either going to be trotting out Kenny Kitten Mittens or 96-year-old Joe Flacco. You take Shedeur Sanders, and nobody really feels good about it, but I just kind of feel like it's going to happen at this point. But we'll see. He could also fall to the second round. I'm going to be as Cleveland Brown brained as possible here.
Honestly, that is a very realistic pick, because I kind of struggled with who I was going to take when I was just doing all 32 teams. I was struggling from Abdul Carter, Shedeur, and then, of course, Travis Hunter. But obviously, he's still on the board there, and the Browns didn't take him. They went Shedeur. So with the third pick, I've got the New York Giants. You know, man, I'm going to go with Travis Hunter here. I just feel like...
I like it.
I just feel like they've already got Malik Neighbors. Their quarterback situation is now not going to be solved indefinitely due to Shedeur being off the board. So yeah, they're going to take the most talked about player in this draft in the corner/receiver out of Colorado.
All right. I actually would really like that pick for the Giants because I think he could immediately be like the number 2 receiver in that offense and be their number 1 corner. So that'd make them a whole lot more interesting to watch for sure. Up next at number 4 on the clock, we got the Patriots. They're kind of a tough team because, I mean, they're just sort of bad across the board. It's, that they need receiver, tackle, edge, guard, corner. It's not a great spot to be in. Those are pretty important positions. I think if you're the Patriots, you take the number 1 player in this draft on a lot of boards, and you just take Abdul Carter, and you're still going to be bad at a lot of positions, but you get someone that's kind of a steal at number 4 overall, because Abdul Carter is insane.
I like that pick, especially with the way this draft is going. If Travis Hunter is gone, I think that's going to be a huge blow to the Patriots. And I keep hearing all this talk of Will Campbell not being a top 5 player in this draft, but the Patriots, in a lot of mocks I've seen, wind up with him because of draft need. So, and it's not like Will Campbell's a bad player. He's 5th on this draft board, so it's saying otherwise everything I'm saying right now. But yeah, I like that pick, Abdul Carter. All right, I've got the Jaguars.
The other Cleveland Browns, basically.
You know what? They need a tight end, huh? I could see them reaching and taking Tyler Warren here, but you know what? I'm gonna just say they're gonna take the next best player off the board, Mason Graham, defensive tackle. Don't overthink it, but they probably will. They're the Jaguars.
Yeah, I could see Ted McMillan going there, number 5, but I think in this scenario, that would probably make the most sense for the Jaguars. They've been loading up on that defensive line over the years, but when you have a player like Mason Graham there for the taking right there, as you were saying, I think you just don't overthink it. Just take the top guy.
Also, I just feel like we saw how good Brian Thomas was last year. I don't know, maybe when draft season first started, I would have put Ted McMillan at 5, but I just feel like he's kind of fallen a little bit. Maybe that's for, sound bites of things we've heard him say in interviews or whatever it is, but he's sort of fallen as far as mock drafts that I've noticed and even done myself. So,
gotcha. Well, yeah, I think all that makes sense. I have just landed at number 6 with the Raiders and our old pal Petey, and I think this is one of the most obvious picks you're going to see in this draft because I think this is going to happen. I think the Raiders are going to select Ashton Jeanty at number 6 and get one of the best running back prospects we've seen in a few years, and a guy who I think actually compares really well to Marshawn Lynch. So I think it makes a whole lot of sense, and it'll be fun. Yeah,
no, I am hoping they make that choice. I just think a player like that going to the Raiders would make them just a much more exciting team to watch, especially given the fact that Pete is going to be, Chip Kelly will be running the offense, but all of those decisions are going to be, given the okay by old Petey. So I just think they're going to feed him some more. And I love the pick.
Yeah, him and Brock Bowers would be a pretty exciting offense with Geno slinging that thing. And their offensive line is it's better than the Seahawks. Raiders could be a sneaky team next year if they make that pick.
Yeah. All right, I've got the Jets. Not going to overthink this one either. They need an offensive tackle. They need to just protect their quarterback, even though I'm not high on Justin Fields at all. I think this is a bridge year to maybe get someone next year for them. Who knows? But I'm going to go Will Campbell.
I can respect that. Certainly makes a whole lot of sense. I feel like the Panthers here up on the board, you'd think that taking someone like Membu here would make a lot of sense, but it seems like they're a little more set on offensive tackle at least than you might think for a team that was as bad as they were last year. This is kind of a tough one because, again, corner, edge, receiver, premier positions. They haven't needed all of them. They have a chance to take the number 1 corner left on the board, the number 1 receiver overall on the board, or an edge. I could see Tet going here. I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, he was where I had going to Carolina in almost every mock. Mainly, I kind of want that just because I want Bryce to have someone to throw to. But
Tet McMillan.
Oh, Tet McMillan.
I could see them going Will Johnson at corner. I think that would make a lot of sense too. But I just feel like, you're going into your franchise quarterback's 3rd season. Your receiver you just took a year or 2 ago didn't play all that well. I just think they need some playmakers at that position. So, they're taking Tet in my draft.
I like it. At number 9, I've got the New Orleans Saints, and I'm noticing they don't have tight end as their team need, but I double-checked earlier on Sleeper today. Their tight end is Jawan Johnson. So we're going to go Tyler Warren to the Saints.
I also just think, Tyler Warren, he's not a Brock Bowers prospect, but he is, one of the best tight ends we've seen, including like Brock and fucking the guy from the Falcons, and Kyle Pitts. Like he's on that tier of just insanely talented at every aspect of the position. And some teams have him, or some people have him as like a top 5 player in this draft. So definitely you got to be happy with that move, I think, if you're a Saints fan. Not sure if you heard about the Derek Carr situation, but
I have. I think it's all bullshit.
Really? You don't think it's real?
I've heard about it. What is it?
Derek Carr has a shoulder injury that might make him miss all of next season.
And it's that polar of like, you think it's bullshit. So what is this rumors?
To get people to think that they're going to take a quarterback, I think.
Oh, so you think it's mind games?
I don't know, man. I think there might be something to it, because it was a lot of people that reported on it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure Shefty reported on it. Yeah.
Oh, then he doesn't fuck around.
Yeah, I don't know. It's, as Jonah's kind of alluding to, this is lying season, so
it's also like Derek Carr is. I don't know. Has Derek Carr commented on it? Because I feel like I just feel like if I'm Derek Carr, there's like everything in my power is going to not make it so I'm sitting out all year. He's getting older, so I
have definitely not checked his personal Twitter or anything to see if he has any comments on it. But it's a weird situation, especially the timing of it. Moving on to the Bears, this is kind of a dream scenario for them. Armand Membu's sitting there at number 10, and
if that they're gonna be so lucky if that happens.
Yeah, because I could see this not even working out for them. But in this scenario, he's there, and the Bears are taking Armand Membu at number 10. Definitely going to help out the crybaby. Caleb Williams was destroyed last season, sacked nearly 60 times, I believe. So getting a guy who is not just an athletic freak, but in a lot of boards, the top tackle in the draft at number 10, that's a good win for the Bears, I think. Yeah. I think they're going to be happy with that.
Yeah, if I'm Caleb Williams, fantasy owners, Bears fans, the whole 9 yards, I'm going to be thrilled with that pick. Moving on to the San Francisco 49ers. This one's kind of easy. I think they're going to need a replacement for Dre Greenlaw. So I'm going to have them going Jalen Walker out of Georgia.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting they have Jalen Walker above the other linebacker in this class, Jihad Campbell. A lot of people are really high on Jihad Campbell. But anywho, up next we have the Cowboys at number 12. Kind of another team that's they're sort of similar to the Saints, where they've just been in purgatory for a while. I know they made the playoffs not that long ago, but no one ever thought they were going to do shit. It's the Cowboys, it's Dak, it's Jerry Jones. I just feel like they're going to do something dumb here. I think they're going to take Matthew Golden. I think they're going to take a receiver for no reason. And, yeah, I don't have a lot of analysis for it. I just think they're like, oh, man, we're just a playmaker away from being a contender. We need the guy that ran the fastest 40.
I could see that. I mean, they did sign Javonte Williams in the offseason. I'm not saying he's like a premier talent. I'm just saying he could have something left. So if they get that run game going, add a receiver to complement CD, could have a dangerous offense next year. So yeah, I mean, there was scenarios I think where in mock drafts I've done, I think I've taken Golden to the Cowboys as well. He also went to Texas, so I feel like, I don't know, any time a guy went to college in the state of the team, I'm like, oh, maybe they'll get home happy and draft him. So I get the lovely Dolphins pick. This is probably the most boring pick in the whole draft. Let's go. They need an offensive. They need a guard. They need a tackle. Damn it. I didn't want to draft Kelvin Banks here, but I'm gonna.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be feeling that great if you're a Dolphins fan and they're getting Calvin Banks in the top 13. But, I mean, they had a really bad line last year. You need a guard. You need a tackle. Not a whole lot you can do. Up next, we got the Colts. They also need help on the interior O-line. I don't think anyone on the interior O-line is going to go this high. This is a tricky one. I could see Colston Loveland going here.
So could I.
I could also see Jihad Campbell going here. I feel like, I'm just going to take Colston Loveland because he's higher on this particular board.
Could you imagine if they took Jalen Milroe?
No, I genuinely would be shocked. Because then they would just have two Anthony Richardsons.
I know.
Probably.
Yeah, Colston Loveland, that's funny you took him there. I took him in the mock draft that I did earlier. So I like the pick. It makes a lot of sense. And, I mean, Anthony Richardson has his main issue is layups and accuracy issues. You get him a tight end. It's quarterback's best friends, they say.
Little security blanket.
Yeah. So yeah. I like the pick there. I get the Falcons. The Falcons, all of their draft needs are defensive positions, which is no shock there. We're going to go with the edge rusher, Mike Green out of Marshall. He is going to be taken with the 15th pick, something they should have done a year ago. Or I guess not a year ago, but instead of signing Kirk Cousins, use that money to sign an edge rusher. But here we are.
It's interesting. Here we are all the way at 15, 16 now, and Will Johnson's still sitting on the board, top 10 player on this board. But the Cardinals don't really have an immediate need for that, and they do have an immediate need for edge. So I'm going to take Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M.
Nice.
Stewart.
And then that leaves me with the Cincinnati Bengals. I do like Will Johnson sitting there. Derek Harmon is probably something they need more, but we're going to go Will Johnson to the Bengals.
Yeah, I couldn't really see him getting past them.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a pretty terrible scenario for him that he's fallen this far. Like, he could end up being a top 10 player. So I think the Bengals would be pretty stoked to make that selection.
I think he could fall, though, especially given like the Super Bowl hangover of having all of us watching the Eagles D-line do what they did. Like, I could see corners falling.
Yeah. So this is a tricky situation we find ourselves in here in the Seahawks draft room. You got both the top safeties in the draft there for your picking. Michael Williams, edge out of Georgia, a guy that we have brought in for a pre-draft visit, is right there. You have Tyler Booker, top guard prospect in a lot of people's boards, but not really someone I think will fit in super well with Kubiak's offense. Jihad Campbell, top linebacker on a lot of people's boards. This is tough. I'm going back down the board, and I see Gray Zabel also at 27, who I think makes so much sense for this team, but would make way more sense in the trade down scenario. I think if we're actually presented with this situation, we're going to take Michael Williams out of Georgia at 18, get an edge. And I know people
I'm fine with
probably will freak out.
Oh, no, we got a guy from Georgia.
No, we got a Georgia defensive end.
Yeah, that
what
just
a
won a
nightmare.
team a Super Bowl, having like 4 of them. So
Yeah, I would be floored if this happened, because I have a hard time seeing him get past Falcons, Bengals, Cardinals, like those teams in there. But the way this board worked out, he just kind of fell our way. And I think that's someone that if you take at 18, you're like, all right, all of a sudden the Seahawks have a fantastic edge room. You got 3 second-round picks. You have DeMarcus Lawrence, and now you have a 18th overall pick out of Georgia. Like, that is one of the more talented edge groups in the league. And we talked about it on a previous podcast. Like, I still feel like this team is missing a number 1 edge player. And while DeMarcus Lawrence is going to be fantastic on early downs against the runs, like, I don't anticipate him being a double-digit sack guy. I think you're kind of participating in some wishful thinking, if that's what your hopes are. I think more like 8 is a ceiling is realistic. But, yeah, 5 years of club control for someone as talented as Michael Williams would be fantastic. And this is a very good edge class. That might be the strongest position of this draft.
yeah, love the pick. God, I feel like every year making the Bucks pick, I just have no idea what their needs are, because they're like a good team. They have a solid offense.
They almost beat the Commanders in the playoffs.
Yeah, their whole team needs are all defensive positions. So I guess I'm just gonna go highest guy on the draft board, Derek Harmon,
Okay.
defensive tackle.
Yeah, I don't know too much about him. I know this isn't like a crazy good interior defensive line draft class, but I mean, that's a premium position. It's kind of like when we got Byron Murphy last year, like top interior defensive tackle in the draft. We got him at, I think, like 16 or something. So it's just kind of, again, the way the board fell. So, yeah, I mean, like that for the Bucks. Who do we got next? The Broncos, a team that has decided to be our rival online for some reason, even though every interaction we have with them, we fucking own them on or off the field.
Broncos, let's ride.
Yes.
Okay.
And they are,
Ryan?
let's see, running back, receiver, linebacker, cornerback, tight end. I feel like Jihad Campbell is not going to fall past this pick here. I have them taking Jihad, and I think that would actually be like really good value for the Broncos to get him this late into the first round. I've seen some drafts, some mocks have him in like the top 12. So that'd shore up their defense, make it a lot more formidable. And it was a defense that's played overall pretty well the last 2 seasons, as is. So good move there for the Broncos, even though I kind of hate them.
Yeah, so I've got the Steelers now. This is tough because I was going to take Shedeur Sanders with this pick.
Well,
But
sorry,
he's
the Cleveland
obviously
Browns
gone.
happened.
Yeah, running back. Why they don't need a wide receiver? What the fuck? Okay, DT, cornerback, running back. I was kind of thinking about taking Omari and Hampton here, but the last time the Steelers took a running back in the first round, they drafted Najee Harris. So I don't know if they'll make that mistake again.
Isn't he gone now, though? Isn't he on?
He's gone, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my point. Is like, are they just? But they need to draft his replacement.
Yeah.
Question is, will they do that in the first round? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't even know who the Steelers' safeties are.
Yeah, this board did not fall their way based on their needs.
Not at all.
I'd probably trade down here if I was actually the Steelers, but we're not doing that.
Is it just like too like finicky on this website? Or
It's not even so much that. It's just
it's more like not updated. Like the Steelers don't need a receiver, but they just signed DK Metcalf, and they have
traded
George
for him.
Pickens.
They traded their second-round pick for him, and they have George Pickens. Yeah, that makes no sense.
There's probably going to be a lot of trade ups and downs, right? Or do you anticipate that?
I don't know. I don't want to do them for this draft just because I feel like they're too much of a wild card. Like, remember when the Falcons drafted Michael Penix, for example, and I think they made a trade to do that? Like, how would anyone have predicted that?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, 'cause it could just be. Yeah.
I'm just gonna have to take the corner out of Texas here.
Barron?
Yeah. Jahdae Barron.
Hey, Baron.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
There was nothing in sight that the Steelers needed besides him. So
Chargers up here. I think this is going to be a tough one for Seattle fans because I think if Gray Zabel's there, at what pick is this? 22? Yeah, I think they're going to take him. They need a center. Gray Zabel can play center. He might be the best center in this draft.
see, okay, but that right there is like Gray Zabel is taken at 22, 4 picks after us.
Yeah.
So it's like we're really gonna let 4 picks that aren't even gonna go to our team dictate whether or not we get our guy or not.
I
that
know.
seems a little ridiculous.
I agree. I think, like if you take him at 18, like who cares what other boards say? Like, we have a need and you take the need. But I think if you were given a scenario where it's like take him or take this edge player that's a lot higher up on the draft boards, I'm never going to fault a team for going after just
The
quality of
circumstance
player.
and, yeah.
Gray Zabel.
Yeah, Gray Zabel, number 22 to the Chargers.
So you're thinking we might choose Gray Zabel at 18?
We're saying it's something that we would both be fine with because I don't see him getting past 22.
Yeah, I'm fine with doing that, but like everyone in the media is like freaking out saying that would be a horrible decision to take him that high. But it's like
Gray Zabel should have just been named Greg Zabel. It'd be way easier. It's just Gray Zabel.
So you got the Packers up next at 23.
I've got the Packers up next. Yes. I had Jihad Campbell going here in a lot of my mocks. Yeah, the Packers, I mean, they've got a solid offense. Don't really, well, I mean, I guess they need a receiver. They have never taken a receiver in the first round as in the past, like, 2 decades. Don't think they're going to do it here. I'm going to go... Yeah, I feel like the Packers' run D is always, like, their Achilles heel. So I'm going to go with Walter Nolan.
That's who I was thinking for them in this board, too.
Yeah.
The way it's shaking out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, Vikings up next at 24, and this is kind of a dream scenario for them for their safety need. They got the 2 top safeties right there, and I think they're just going to take Malachi Starks because
Nice.
I think he's going to be the first safety off the board.
Yeah, he is the first safety on this board too. So, we got the Houston Texans next, the only team with a worse offensive line than us, and they're gonna take Ohio State offensive tackle Josh Simmons.
I like it. I think that makes a whole lot of sense. They're at a spot there where they get either Ohio State tackle or Alabama guard or another interior O-lineman.
Well, and they just traded away Laramie Tunsil.
Yeah.
So
which
they
was,
need...
I thought that was a terrible move, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know
Texans
why
are
they're
gonna
trying
text
to,
him.
like, kill C.J. Stroud. But they seem dead set on it. Up next, we got the Rams, our hated rival. They got a lot of needs here that aren't like immediately present on the board. I could see them being a sneaky contender for Jackson Dart, honestly.
Or Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, I kind of don't see McVay liking Milroe personally.
No?
No, I mean they lost Cooper Kupp, but they did sign Devontae Adams, so I feel like they're not going to be taking a receiver here.
I just
This
feel
is
like if
kinda
you
tricky.
sit Milroe behind Stafford for a year, maybe even 2, who knows? He could figure out his throwing mechanics by then.
I mean, that's the thought with guys like him. I feel like with people like Josh Allen and Lamar is like the only time it's worked out recently. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's why you take a chance. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I think the Rams, I know they have edge listed here as a need. I just feel like they're not going to do that. Running back is on here as well, but
Who are their safeties? I feel like they need a safety.
yeah, I could see them taking a man of worry. This is a tough one. I kind of don't super know what to do here. But I'm going to give them I'm going to go with James Pierce Jr. because I think on most boards he's higher than Nick Scorton.
Yeah. He also went to Tennessee. Tennessee was a playoff team last year.
Yeah, I've seen some drafts where he's like top 12. So I think getting him here in the mid-20s would be a pretty good move for them, and pairing him with the guy they drafted last year would be horrible for Seahawks to deal with.
Who was the safety that the Ravens drafted last year?
Kyle Hamilton?
Kyle Hamilton. Is he a free safety or a strong safety?
I think more of a free safety type.
And then Nick Emanwari is he also a free safety?
He would be more of a box safety.
That's kind of what I assumed since he's bigger like Cam Chancellor.
Yeah.
I'm going to draft him to the Ravens, and they're going to get scarier
wow.
in the secondary.
That'd be horrifying. Like that.
What'd you say?
Nick Emanwari.
Yeah, South Carolina safety.
So top player. Yeah, that would give them. I mean, if he pans out, that would give them like probably the best safety
They'd just
duo
have Ed
in the
Reed
league.
again.
Yeah, that'd be fucked up. That's a really good situation for him to end up too.
Yeah.
Lions coming up here. They need a guard. I think they would just take Tyler Booker in this situation. I think he fits with what they try to do there fairly well, and it's a pretty simple pull of the lever.
Yeah, so we've got the
Commanders up next.
Commanders. Let's see. Commanders are taking Emeka Egbuka. And
I had a feeling you were
they
gonna
need
go there.
another skill player to go with their newly addition toy of Mr. Overweight.
Debo, I forgot didn't they trade like a 5th round pick for him or something?
Something like that. Yeah. But yep, they get the Ohio State receiver and give Jane Daniels a little bit more to work with.
Alrighty, Bills are up next. I think if they landed in this spot because they moved on from Von Miller, they need an edge. They'd probably go Nick Skirton out of Texas A&M.
Nice.
He's still on the board in this case. Although, I mean, I feel like when we're getting into the high 20s and 30s, it's like you almost never get these picks right because the board usually doesn't work out this way. But you got the Chiefs up next.
Yep, the Chiefs. I am going with let's see,
Jackson Dart.
we're gonna go Tyleik Williams, DT out of Ohio State. Went with them in my other draft. Just another need for the Chiefs to fill. I don't really like any of the offensive linemen that are available there for them. So,
What did you say?
how do you pronounce?
Tyreek Williams.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy.
And up next, last but not least of the first round picks, we have the Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl champs. This is a team, like, I know they list needs here. I feel like this is the deepest roster in the league. Like, across the board, they're fine at every position. So you just, in theory, would take the best player. But on this board, the best 3 players are quarterback, running back, receiver, and then going to the 4th, another quarterback. They're not taking any of those positions. That would make no sense. So I think they're going to take Siobhan Revel out of East Carolina. This is a guy who would probably be picked a lot higher if he didn't have injury concerns. Colby, you can just go to full results there to show the whole board. Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be a little bit of a surprise for Siobhan Revel to go this high, but I also at the same time, like, I could see it happening. He's a really, like, high ceiling player.
Honestly, you know who I took the Eagles in my 32-man draft? I had them taking Mason Taylor, the tight end out of LSU.
Oh.
And I only did that because he's lower on the draft board, but the Eagles are the only team in this draft that can, like, do whatever they want, and it's not really going to affect them because they have such a deep roster. And I feel like tight end is, like, their weakest spot. They have, Dallas Goedert, who's injured all the time.
And he's getting up there in age, too.
Yeah, and Mason Taylor, his dad was Jason Taylor. So it's like, you know he's going to have some sort of
NFL DNA for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess reviewing our draft here, what's, like, your favorite and least favorite pick you had to make?
Let's see here. Did I make that pick? Wait, who did you say? Siobhan Revel?
Yeah.
Let's see. Full results. I would be pretty stoked if Shador does go to the Browns. I think that would just be kind of exciting. 1-2 for the quarterback punch. Let's see. I like my Tyler Warren to the Saints pick because I feel like I had to do that research. Like, this draft board telling me tight end isn't a need for the Saints is, like, preposterous.
Yeah.
And then I like the Jalen Walker pick to the Niners. I feel like that might happen. Or Jod Campbell. Like, one of those two will go to San Fran, potentially, given who's left. Yeah. I like the Michael Williams.
Yeah, I'd be stoked if we walked out of the first round with him because I think we had one of the deepest interior defensive lines in the league last year, and I think it's going to be just as good this season.
Which is crazy to say because a year and a half ago we were like, who's there?
But I think, like, kind of taking a page out of the Eagles' playbook, like, building an incredibly deep pass rush is such a key component to winning a championship. Like, if we have 3 second-round guys, DeMarcus Lawrence and Michael Williams in our edge room, that's insane. All those guys can start for us. And they just had Nolan Smith as, like, a situational edge rusher, first-round crazy athlete. So, yeah, I think that's a good blueprint to victory. My least favorite pick I had to make was probably Shador, just because I don't think it's a good move, but it's fun. It's just I think it's stupid.
Yeah.
My favorite one of your picks is Amanawari to the Ravens, because I think that would just be a crazy that's probably the best case scenario I think for as far as landing spots go.
Yeah.
And then what else?
I like your Gray Zabel pick because I just think that Jim Harbaugh has like an obsession with large people, given and be that offensive lineman. So
yeah, and I mean they just took a tackle with their first pick last year, so it'll go a long way to building that core offensive line. I think my favorite pick I made overall, though, was Ashton Jeanty to the Raiders. I just think that's so fun. I think that's going to make the Raiders, like, a tough team for all those AFC West opponents.
And Raider games might be fun to watch, finally. I mean, they're doing a whole flip on their franchise. They have a new quarterback, new coach, new GM,
honestly,
now a star running back.
I was thinking about it, Jonah, because, like, I mean, I'm still a Pete fan at the end of the day. Like, obviously, Seahawks come first.
You're going to start rooting for the Raiders.
Well, what if there's direct flights from where we live to Vegas. What if we went to a Raider game?
I would go.
For, like, a weekend in Vegas.
Watch them. We could watch them, like, beat the shit out of the Browns or something.
Yeah, it'd be cool to go to a game where they're hosting the Chiefs or something.
Yeah.
I think.
Did the Seahawks ever go down there?
Not this year, but, I mean, they will eventually.
That would be...
Be crazy to watch us play against
time,
Geno.
I think we played up here last time, didn't we?
We did, yeah. It was 2021, and fucking Josh Jacobs ran all over us. Or it was 2022.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I remember that.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Terrible game. Like, worst defense I've ever seen.
But that's honestly all I got. I'm pretty happy with our picks. I'm looking forward to seeing how it all pans out, to be honest with you.
I can't believe we're only like a week and a couple days away.
It happened so fast.
Yeah. I don't know. I've just been busy as shit this spring, but I feel like it's come up quick this year for whatever reason.
No, for sure.
But I'm super excited for that. I'd like to, we were talking about streaming the first round next week, so don't forget to tune in live. We're a lot more fun to watch than Todd McShay and all of those guys, so it'll be a good time. We had one of our best days of the year as far as growth goes last year during the live stream, so. Yeah,
so tune in, and don't be afraid to say hello in the chat. We usually give everyone a shout-out that communicates via chat.
Yeah, and then, I'm not sure what we'll do days 2 and 3. Probably won't do anything day 3, but maybe we'll pop on the stream on day 3 as well. But we'll see. We'll keep you posted.
Yeah, for sure. But anyway, thanks for stopping by, guys. Hopefully you liked our picks. Hopefully the picks were relatively, accurate to what's going to be going down Thursday, 2 Thursdays from now. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Yep. See you next time.